Well, how did it go before? I didn't want it to go before. All right, we're going. Get the book out. Look in the back. There's some pages that are dark pages that have like flags around them. Got the American flag in the very, very back. And find the Constitution. Was anybody missing besides Madison? Okay, there's three, right? Look at the Constitution. Look at the very back. The dark, the very back. The pages. The flag on it. The flag on it. There you go. Find the Constitution. Find the first page of the Constitution. And then flip past that. Don't go to the amendments. See how many pages are actually the Constitution. Not the amendments, but just the Constitution. So like six, yeah. That's the whole Constitution. And it's half a page because the yellow writing, the tan writing is the actual writing in the Constitution. The white writing is explaining the tan writing. Is that longer or shorter than you would think the Constitution of our government would be? It's not much. We're going to be spending this week on the Constitution and next week on the Constitution. We're going to do federalism, and then we're going to come back and do the legislative branch, executive branch, and the judicial branch. So we'll be looking at the Constitution from now through like Thanksgiving time. When y'all were little, do y'all remember Freedom Week or Constitution Week in school? Every year y'all did like a week of Constitution stuff. Sometimes I would do that, sometimes I wouldn't. Sometimes that's a state law. You're supposed to do that. Teacher's supposed to do that. I always felt like if we were doing the Revolution, I didn't need to stop and spend a week on the Constitution and then go back to the Revolution and then spend the rest of the semester in the Constitution. So there was times I broke. We're going to take some notes on the Constitution and the First Amendment, and then the rest of the week we'll do the rest of the amendments. So get a little sheet of paper out. Friday, September 7th. And in 1787, that's the day the Constitution was ratified. It was passed on September 17th, 1787. So that's like the birthday of our government. So you're getting fired now. See?
I'm getting fired right now.
Now the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists. We talked about them last week. Did the Federalists like the Constitution? Yes, they did. The Federalist Papers were written to defend the Constitution being ratified. The Anti-Federalists liked the Constitution. No, they didn't. They thought it didn't protect the people enough. They did agree to the Constitution after something was added. The Bill of Rights. Bill of Rights are actually the first 10 amendments. There are 27 amendments to the Constitution. The first 10 are not changes. The first 10 are actually additions. Okay? There's 17 amendments that we made, changes after the Constitution was ratified. One of those cancels the other one out, the prohibition and the doing away with prohibition. So there's really only been 15 changes in 230-something years. 40-something years. That's pretty good. They did a really good job with this. So we're going to start with the First Amendment. Actually, let me tell you 4 more little things. The The Constitution does not give you rights. Constitution does not give you rights. Bless you. Anybody that says that's a liar. The Constitution does protect. I've spelled protect 3 different ways today. I'm pretty sure I've got some sort of ridiculous adult onset dyslexia that doesn't make any kind of sense whatsoever. That is protect. It protects your rights from what? Who are you protected from? The government. That's why the revolution was fought. Because their rights were not being protected from the government. The government was tyrannical, so they wanted to make sure their government, they were protected from their government. The Constitution doesn't give you rights, it protects your rights from the government. Flip over to the First Amendment. I want to tell you the First Amendment in 2 phrases, and then we'll look at each little part of it. The First Amendment rights are that you can say and do. You can say and do anything. You can say and do anything you want. You can say or do anything you want as long as you don't infringe on others' rights. You can say and do anything you want as long as you don't infringe on other people's rights. And you have no right to not be offended. You have no right to not be offended. America, you better be offended or else we're not America anymore. I'm offended daily before I even get on the bus. I'm sure I offend others daily before I get on the bus. So you can say or do anything you want as long as you don't infringe on other people's rights. You have no right to not be offended. As long as it doesn't affect my paycheck, as long as it doesn't affect my physical body, everything's fine. I may or may not be offended by that shirt. When I was in college, we went and played Tarleton. Y'all probably heard of the Purple Poo? Some of those idiots came into our sideline and were running in and out of us on our sideline. Go be stupid somewhere, but you don't get to come in and be stupid on our sideline. I hate Tarleton, and that's why. And I'm half convinced Mr. Fletcher was one of them Purple Poo running around through there. Don't have any direct evidence, but I have some fringe evidence. He might have been one of them guys there. That bothered me. So I'm offended by Tarleton. Is that okay to be offended by Tarleton? No, that's fine. I'll live, I'll survive. It didn't hurt my body, it didn't affect my paycheck. I just, who cares? So let's look at the First Amendment. Does this make sense to everybody? All right. Somebody read the first line of the First Amendment.
Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religious.
Stop there. Congress will not. You think the Anti-Federalists love that first line? They love that. Congress cannot do this. And they cannot establish a religion. That word establish means something. Now, I've done this a couple class periods. Let me see. If I wear my Packer shirt, that's going to offend some of y'all. Does that affect y'all? No. It might offend you, but it doesn't affect you. If I force you to write a statement telling me how much you love the Packers and list 7 great things about them or else you're going to fail, now are we affecting you? That's establishing something, all right? Establishing a religion. If I tell you that Jesus Christ died for you, and that if you will accept Him as Lord of your life, then you will live eternally in a relationship with Him. Does that affect anybody? Does that have any effect on anybody? No?
Unless you let it be.
Okay. Does it affect your paycheck? Does it hurt your body? Some of you are offended by that. That's okay. What if I say, I need you to sign this piece of paper saying that you accept Jesus as your personal Savior, I need you at church on Sunday, or you're going to fail? That establishes something. See, I represent the government because I'm paid by taxpayer dollars. So I cannot force you into action. Establishing a religion would mean to force you into some sort of action. Can the president say we need to pray for this situation? Yes. Can Congress say all Americans have to pay a tax to the Lutheran Church? No, because that's establishing a religion. That's forcing action. Hearing about it, knowing about it, being around it doesn't establish a religion. Being forced into some kind of action establishes a religion. So that's the first part. The second part says what? Fancy talk there.
Or prohibiting free exercise there.
All right. They can't keep you from practicing. They can't force it on you. They can't keep it from you. I can't get on the intercom and say a prayer to Jesus over the intercom. That's good. Because I don't need to teach y'all how to pray. That's you and your parents and whatever. That's your deal. If Titan has a Buddhist teacher, is she allowed to tell her students what Buddhism is and what it means to her and how great it is for her? Sure, I don't mind that one bit.
But if they're trying to.
Can she sit there and pray with it? Here, sit down and pray with me. No, I can't do that. There are, and I'm going to say this wrong. Here's where the fire is going to happen. I'm not meaning anything by this. I mean, Eskimos. Don't know if that's a negative term or anything. Northern Indian tribes, like in Alaska and Canada. It's illegal to hunt whales. They're allowed to hunt whales at certain times of the year because that's been a part of their religious practices for hundreds of years, thousands of years. So they're allowed to do that. Indian tribes in America, there are some Indian tribes who are allowed to use hallucinogenic drugs in their ceremonies because they've done that for generations. If you're driving around shooting heroin, say, yeah, man, it's my religion, I love heroin. Well, that's not your religion. You're arrested. If they arrest you for shooting up heroin, are they keeping you from practicing your religion? No, they're not. If I'm going to my satanic meeting, and I realize, oh crap, it was my month to bring the goat. And so I look around, I go grab the goat, from Farmer Joe over here, I grab his goat and cut the head off, and whatever they do. And I get arrested. Are they infringing on my religious rights? They're arresting me for stealing property and cruelty to animals. So as an American, you have the right to not be forced into any sort of religious action, and you can't be kept from worshiping the way you want to. Now, 2011, maybe not, somewhere around there, 12 years ago, gay marriage was a very huge issue in America. Some states allowed it, some states didn't. In Houston, and this is fuzzy memory, I know it was Houston, it was either the mayor or city council. Somebody was pushing for preachers in the Houston area to have to turn in their sermons for review by the government before, to see if they were preaching against gay marriage. Is that okay? No, that's not okay. What you have to do in situations like that is flip it. You can't look at something and say, well, I agree with that, so that's okay, or I disagree with that, so that's not okay. Y'all know where I am. I'm a conservative Christian. I actually go to a fundamentalist Baptist church that uses the King James Version. I have an NIV Bible. Don't tell them that. Okay. I can't understand the King James Version in the way it gets explained. Like the preacher, you're okay, I'm not better. They explain it using words like what's in the movie. So that they explain it anyway. I get the whole translation. Anyway, I won't get into that. But I'm very conservative. I'm against gay marriage. I'm not against homosexual people in general as a person. I'm against living together. I'm against sex outside of marriage. It's all the same to me. I'm not okay with this because it's a guy and a girl, but gay. I'm not, no. I try to be pretty consistent. Guess what? Baptist preachers were preaching against gay marriage. Oh my gosh! Oh, I can't believe that! Yeah, no kidding. And guess what? Atheists or homosexuals were saying it was okay. No kidding. Wow. Okay, shocker. But they can't do that. The government can't come in and do that. We have no right to not be offended. I always said, as gay marriage has got to be either all or none. You can't have some states have it and some states not. That can't be a local issue. Because me and little Christy, we're married, I have a marriage license. We can move to Arkansas, and even though we're not cousins, we're still married. Every state recognizes the other state's stuff. Y'all can drive in Louisiana if you have a Texas driver's license. Colt moved to Wyoming, and he could drive, even though he didn't have a Wyoming license, he has a Texas license. This literally happened. I don't know their names. Let's say Joe and Steve went and got married in Vermont because Vermont allowed gay marriage. They moved to Houston, eventually wanted a divorce. Could they get a divorce in Texas at that time? No, because they weren't married. Texas did not recognize gay marriage. So you can't have some marriages recognized by states and some not. You had to have it all one or all none. But anyway, those are your religious rights. Established religion, you can't, and they can't keep you from practicing. What's the second thing there?
Did we get to abridging freedom of speech?
Right. If you go to the library, there's probably an unabridged dictionary that's about that thick. There's an abridged dictionary in your English class that's about that thick. So what does abridged and unabridged mean? The unabridged is that thick. It's got every word. Yeah. Congress cannot pass a law that limits your freedom of speech. This is what nobody understands. Before we get into it, I think what they really were talking about was political ideas. You can't be sent to prison because you're conservative or liberal, or you like Biden or you like Trump. Everyone has the rights to express their political views, except for the military. Military can't. If you're an active military person, you can vote, but you can't go in your uniform door to door and whatever you call it, campaign. You can't show up at a campaign rally in your uniform because you defend everyone. And the military can't appear to be on one side or the other. They don't like Trump or Biden. That's their commander-in-chief, so they have to do what that commander-in-chief says. You have to like them, but they can't show favoritism. Now, when it comes to freedom of speech, you can say or do whatever you want. As long as you don't infringe on other people's rights, you have no right to not be offended. You have the right to wear shorts. Yes, I do. Why am I not wearing shorts today?
You don't want to?
I want to. If it's a day that ends in Y, I want to wear shorts. I can't. My job, my employer, keeps me from wearing shorts. That's not fair. Fair Any Lives in Dallas, October, indicated in spring. Do I have a right to a job? No. I don't have the right to this job. I have to earn this job. It's a privilege. And they've said you can't wear shorts in this room. But I have the right to wear shorts. If I exercise my right to wear shorts in the classroom, could there be some consequences? Yes. This is what nobody understands. It's my right. Got freedom of speech. You're not free from consequences. You have the right to say and do. And your employer will decide what you get to do and don't do, what you get to say and don't say. And you don't have to work there. I can go work somewhere else. Dustin, you saw me sometimes this summer. Didn't you see me around some? Did I look different in the summertime? I have shorts on. Anybody see me with my little mustache? Every summer I grow a little mustache. I was told when I first got a job here, you can't have any hair below your lip. That may or may not have changed. I know I've seen some people with this going like I do in the summer, but I was told you can't, so I don't do it. But every summer, I'm just like y'all. I'm free, yeah. You know, because this job's more important to me than this is. It's actually hard to deal with this. You have to mess with it. I can get it, and I'm done every day. It's way easier to do this. There was a guy in California 15 years ago. I'm going to call him Steve. He was a salesman. What does a salesman do? They represent a company. You're that company's representative. You go out in the world and you represent this company and try to get people to buy this company's stuff. Do you own the company? No. You're an employee of the company. He wanted to wear a dress. Does he have a right to wear a dress? Yes, he does. He wanted to wear a dress to work. His boss said, you're not wearing a dress to work. You're on our time. You'll wear what we say. So he sued him. Went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, yes, you do have a right to wear a dress. And the boss has the right to tell you what you're going to wear while you're on the clock. So you make the choice. You either have this job and wear what they want you to do, or don't have the job and wear your dress. So there's consequences. So we go to the grocery store, me and little Titan. We walk in, and some yahoo walks in with a white t-shirt and big letters this big, it says F you. Does he have a right to wear that shirt? Yes, he does. Titan looks up there, and he's starting to read. And he starts spelling it out and trying to say it. Do I have the right not to have to deal with that at 6 years old? Yes. Which right's more important? They're both equal. Because if he has the right to wear, if he doesn't have the right to wear the FU shirt, I don't have the right to wear the Jesus Loves You shirt. I have to allow him to wear that shirt if I want the right to wear my shirt. I'm offended by that shirt. Does that shirt affect my paycheck? Does that shirt affect my body, my physical, my sick? No, it doesn't. Does the store owner have a right to say, you're not going to wear that in my store? Yes. Are there consequences to that store owner saying that? He's losing business. That guy's not buying anything there that day. He just lost business. Could he lose other business by telling that guy, you're not wearing that shirt in there? He should go tell all his friends that in the FU club, they can't wear their little shirt in there. And they're going to get mad. They're not even protests. And this will get on the news. Now, let me tell you something about protests. I'm going to come back to, let's say this and I'll talk about protests later. Could that guy gain business by telling that guy, you're not wearing that shirt in my store? Yes. There's a large group of people who, quote, religiously go to Chick-fil-A. Who is that? Christians. Because they're closed on Sunday, because I know they were a Christian company, they stand by Christian principles. Let me tell you, I'm not pro or anti Chick-fil-A. If anything, I'm more anti. I have nothing against them. I'm just not sitting in line for anything. It's so fast. I really don't care. If I see 10 cars in line, I don't care if it takes 1 minute. I'm not going to get in that line. And it's just chicken. Okay, it's okay. I don't mind eating it. It's fine. It's chicken. I'm going to Whataburger. It takes twice as long. I know. There's only 3 cars there. I'm going to Whataburger. I'm not anti-Chick-fil-A at all. I also tend, this is my psychological problem, I also tend to be against anything popular. And just, if it's hip and cool, I'm like, oh, that's stupid. I don't know why. I have to figure that out. Let's go back to the protest thing. There was a movie when I was in college called The Last Temptation of Christ. I think it was a famous director. I think his name was Stanley Kubrick, maybe not. And it was a movie about, I didn't see it, so I think it was a movie about maybe Jesus and Mary Magdalene getting married. And it was all, and church groups went nuts. Especially the Catholic Church and other Christians, they got together and they had these protests and rallies. And the result of that is, I heard about this movie. I wouldn't have heard about this movie if those protests hadn't happened. And this movie got to be huge because of the protests. When you have protests, you call attention to the thing you're protesting. It's like free advertising. I'm not saying don't protest. I'm just saying a lot of times, if there's a KKK rally, there is 5 guys that haven't bathed in 3 months, and they have no teeth, and 20 news trucks around it. The meeting isn't a big deal, but they're getting all this publicity from the news. Oh, KKK rally here, there's fun. Anyway, I'm not telling you not to protest. Does that make sense, though? A lot of times the protest has the opposite deal. Now, we also have the Congress will not. Hello, Christy. How come when Dustin walks by, I don't think it's little Christy? But I hear other people go by. I know it's not her. I know her little walk. The short steps. She walks fast. That little short lady. Her legs are that long. The Congress will not infringe on freedom of the press. In America, the media, the news media, is free to report what they feel like they need to report. We don't censor the media. In other countries, the government is the media. The government releases what can be released. We don't do that in America. But what are they free to report? What are they allowed to report? The truth. They can report anything as long as it's true.
Does that happen?
Well, here's the thing. Every human being is biased. I'm biased. I'm conservative. As a government teacher, I try to present all sides of stuff, but I also tell you I'm biased, and most times I'll say, okay, I'm showing my side here, but I try not. I want y'all to see what's out there, and you figure out if you want to be wrong, that's fine. You can disagree with me if you want to be wrong. That's okay. In Iraq, in 2004, 2005, 2006, every news report showed the death, the things our military did wrong. They showed all the negative stuff. All of it was true, but most of what they showed was negative. Every bit truth. They did not show the hospitals that were rebuilt. They didn't show the kids that were saved. They didn't show a lot of the positive things. They don't have to tell the whole story. You have to report the truth. And so as a reporter, you can pick and choose what you show, the side you present. A lot of times in the media, they will say the Republican-controlled Congress or the Democratic-led Congress. Is there a difference between being controlled and being led?
Mm-hmm.
It's subtle, and unless you're thinking about it, you don't catch it. But if you're liberal and the Republicans have a majority, that's a Republican-controlled Congress. If it's Democrat, it's a Democratic-led Congress. So our job is to understand the people telling us this stuff have an agenda. And it's our job to figure out what the truth really is. The best advice I can give you is pay attention to like international media. They'll usually do a better job of showing what's really going on than like the American media is. And if you're conservative, watch MSNBC every once in a while. And if you're liberal, watch Fox News every once in a while. You get some other perspectives and different sides of stuff. There's also something called slander and libel. L-I-B-E-L and slander. These are legal terms. If I'm arrested for murder, is that a news story? Yeah. It's probably the biggest one of the week. Wise County Messenger comes out. Paradise teacher murders student. Can they print that? Paradise teacher arrested for murder. Yes. But they can't say murderer. That's committing, if it's spoken like in a news story, it's slander. If it's written in a newspaper story, it's libel. They have damaged my reputation and my life with it's not necessarily a lie, but does that make sense? You cannot say someone is a rapist before the trial. You say accused of. Now, that was a good little experiment. When I said I was arrested, then the newspaper says murderer, we see that, we go, yeah, well, what's the big deal? Because we automatically assume, oh, they're arrested for, they did it. I can't believe they did that. Sometimes they'll ask for a change of venue. Like if that scenario was to happen, my lawyer, whoever that cheap little guy would be, or maybe he's at a law school or not, I don't know. well, he used to be my friend Lane, he's not a lawyer, ask for a change of venue. Because we wouldn't want to have that trial in this area where people already had a predetermined notion of what happened. Because there's too much, they want to go somewhere that had never heard of this before. So you get an unbiased jury. You can say, you know, I hate this person's stupid, this person's crap, this person is a lawbreaker. Can I say that? No, unless I have some proof. All right, the last two, we're going to combine them. The last two is assembly and petition. Right, this is an area on how it works. Assembly and petition. What's assembly mean? Get together. Petition means to not like something or gripe. So we as Americans have the right to get together and gripe.
That happens a lot.
Yes, we like that. We like to complain. I went to college with Greg Lowry, known him since '86, so I always use him as this example. Do I have a right to go to the courthouse with a sign and walk around and say, Greg Lowry's stupid? Greg Lowry's stupid? Can I do that?
Sure.
Yeah. Can I grab his wife and a couple other people and we walk around, Greg Lowry's stupid, Greg Lowry's stupid, Greg Lowry's stupid? Yeah. Can we block the sidewalk? Infringing on people's rights there. Can we block the stairway to the courthouse? Can we block the street? Block the bit? No. We have the right to protest. We don't have the right. What if we got 20 people and we're screaming with bullhorns and it's interfering with the courtroom? Could we get arrested for that? We would say, oh, we have the right to protest, we have the right. Is there some gray area there? What if I step in the street and a car has to, but basically I'm being arrested not for protesting, but for infringing on other people's rights. What if we go through the city or through the police or how you do it and we get a permit and they shut the street down at Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock and we have an anti-Greg Lowry rally? Can we do that? Yeah. But you don't have the right to keep people from going in the courthouse. You can say all you want. Can I hit somebody with my sign? No. Right? That makes sense? So that's your First Amendment rights right there. You say or do whatever you want as long as you don't infringe on people's rights. You have no right to not be offended, and there are consequences. Can you yell fire in a crowded theater? No. Because Titan has the right to not get trampled to death. If there's no fire, people scrambling, broken arms, and all that kind of stuff. Do you have the right in your vehicle? Do you have the right to do that? Yes, you do. Do you have the right to drive through the neighborhood at 2 in the morning? Could that be a problem? Right? That could infringe on my right to sleep. And I'm down with it. My next truck I get is gonna thump. It is. It's gonna thump. I'm gonna lease it. I am gonna have it. It's gonna jam. If I want to thump, I'm gonna thump. If I don't feel like it, I'm not going to. But we do have crank it up time at the house. Believe me. Let me clear my thump. All right. Good enough. Is that total?